Alright guys, hello, assalamu alaikum. Today I am doing a DIY sewing tutorial request for you. This will be the first of my free weekly sewing tutorials, but this is the cape dress that I decided to make. I did this in two pieces so that way you can wear it separately or together. So you can wear the dress by itself, wear the cape by itself, or wear them both together. I also styled this look with a lovely, gorgeous custom head wrap from Ankara Couture, and I'm also wearing the bangles as well. But we'll jump right into the tutorial. To get started, I am using a bodice pattern piece that I showed you guys how to make in my high-low peplum top tutorial, and there'll be a card coming up on the screen if you guys want to click that to check it out, or I'll have the link for you down below. But basically, I'm just going to use the bodice piece. I did extend this pattern out for a drop waist dress that I made, but I'm not using that part. So I'm just tracing down to the end of the bodice piece that I showed you guys how to make in that tutorial, and then I'm taking a jersey maxi dress and lining that up along the edge. I am going to measure just how far over this is because the fabric I'm using is a Ponte Roma and it doesn't have the same amount of stretch. So I'm making sure to give myself some room and making sure everything is nice and even. Once I have that lined up, I'm going to go ahead and continue tracing down the rest of the maxi dress. Now I'm just using a marker to trace over that so you guys can get a good idea of what this will look like. And you want to make sure you mark the bottom of your dress and leave enough room for your seam allowance and draw a little scoop for your neckline, but we'll come back to that piece later. The next thing I did was measure from my knees down to the bottom of my dress and mark that point on my pattern. And I'm going to draw that line going all the way across. I'm going to take another piece of pattern paper or freezer paper, which is what I like to use, and I'm going to go ahead and tape that down. Getting my ruler, using that same measurement for my knee to the bottom, I'm going to draw a line going across. This is kind of like an easy way or a faux way to make a mermaid dress. Super simple, and just connect that line. And go ahead and cut that out. And going back to the neckline, all I'm doing is cutting along that curve. So now I have the piece for my front pattern for my neckline, and you can just tape it back down and you have your back piece as well. But you can do whatever type of neckline you want. You can do a V-neck or anything that you choose. So going on to my fabric, I have my fabric folded over once and then folded over again. So you can see I'm going to end up with 4 layers, which will ultimately give me the 2 pieces for the front and the back. I laid my pattern down along the fold, and I'm just going to go ahead and trace that out. And this is what it should look like. I'm also going to go ahead and pin that down before I cut it. This way I know everything stays nice, neat, and even when I do cut it. Alright, for the life of me, I could not get this dress to fit into the frame when I unfolded it, so here's just a smaller piece of fabric to show you guys what it should look like. But once you unfold it, you'll have 2 pieces, one for the front and the back. And you want to sew along the shoulders, and then from the bottom of the arm seam all the way down one side, and do the same thing on the other side. Go ahead and take that to your machine and start sewing around. By the way, if you guys enjoy these sewing tutorials and you want to see more of them, please leave me a comment, share the videos, let me know so I can make more of these sewing tutorials for you guys. I also went ahead and hemmed the neckline, and I did that with a stretch stitch, and then I also hemmed the bottom as well. Just showing you what the neckline looks like here. Alright, next moving on to the sleeves. If you choose to add them, I'm going to fold my fabric over. The sleeve pattern I also showed you guys how to do in the high-low peplum top tutorial, so make sure you check that out. But you lay your pattern down along the fold. You're going to go ahead and trace around your pattern piece, and then go ahead and cut that out. Here's what it should look like once you have cut it out. I'm going to go ahead and take that and serge the bottom of the sleeve. It's an optional step, so you don't have to do it. Once I've done that, I'm going to take one of my favorite things to use when I'm working with any sort of stretch or knit fabric, which is Wonder Tape. I place that on the edge, and it just makes it a lot easier to fold over knit fabric since you can't really get a good crease in them a lot of times with the iron. So you just basically press that down. I'm going to flip it over and actually use my iron to press it down as well. And you just want to top stitch going all the way across using a stretch stitch or a twin or double needle. I do have a tutorial showing you guys how to click that, and there'll be a card up above if you want to see that. And here's what it'll look like on the inside and on the outside once you've done that. You want to go ahead and fold the fabric with the right side facing right side. Make sure everything lines up nice and neat. You can also go ahead and pin it down, but you'll sew going all the way down. You can also take that to your serger if you do have one, just to make sure it looks nice and neat and clean and finished on the inside. Alright, so I've already sewn one of the sleeves, but to do the other, you want to make sure your garment is folded wrong size out and your sleeve is folded right size out. And you're going to tuck your sleeve into your dress. First, I start with pinning the bottom seams together. I'm going to make sure it's lined up nice and neat, and then pin the top of that to the top seam. From there, I'm just going to work my way, pinning all the way around. Once you've done that, you can take it to your sewing machine and sew all the way around. If you find that sleeves are kind of tricky or difficult for you, I would suggest starting off with a knit stretch fabric, just because there's a lot of give in it and it's a lot easier to work with. But here's what it should look like once you have finished that. You can see when you fold it over and all the right sides are facing out, you have a nice neat sleeve, no gathers, no puckers or anything like that. And you can also serge that as well to give it a nice finished look on the inside. You're pretty much done with the dress at this point. You've done all your hemming. We can go ahead and move on to the cape. The cape is super easy to make. You want to first take a measurement for how far you want it to come down in the front, how far you want it to come down in the back. Add those two together plus your seam allowance and you'll have the total length for your cape. I'm using my fabric here, which I have folded over from salvage to salvage. I'm going to start off first with marking the measurement for the front of my cape. And then I'm going to extend that line over about 5 inches, but that can vary depending upon your size. Next, I'm going to go ahead and draw a curve on the front corner because I don't want it to have pointy ends. If you do like that look, you can leave it that way. Another thing I would suggest is starting off with a larger curve. Try it on, see if you like it. If not, you can always make it smaller. I'm going to go ahead and cut the slit for the neck hole. And then move down to the bottom of my cape and do the exact same thing, drawing another curve. Again, start off with a larger curve, try it on, see if you like the look of it. If not, you can adjust it. Once I finished cutting that out, I went ahead and serged all the way around my cape, and then I also folded that over and did a top stitch to hem it all the way around. Next, we're going to go ahead and hem the neckline. I'm using my Wonder Tape again. I'm just going to place that down and then fold my fabric over. And I'm going to go ahead and do a top stitch along the top of that. You just want to make sure that your seams are the same for the neckline and also, of course, for your hem on the bottom. You don't want one to be one side and one to be on the other side. But once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and do the top stitch, working my way all the way around the neck hole. And then I also added on either side just 2 reinforcement stitches, just because I know the cape is going to be kind of heavy and I don't want it to lose its shape. So once you've done that, you guys, you are done. You have a super gorgeous, really easy to make 2-piece cape dress. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial. If you try it out, tag me at Nadira037 or with hashtag Nadira037 so I can see. Make sure you guys subscribe for the free weekly sewing and DIY tutorials. I love you guys so much. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until my next video, assalamu alaikum. Peace. And remember, you guys, if I can do it, so can you.